Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Triangle BNI. My name is Mike Manning, and each week we bring you a wonderful success story from the Triangle area of North Carolina. If you are not familiar with us, it is the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area of Central North Carolina. If you are not familiar with BNI, Business Networking International is the world's largest networking organization. In the Triangle here, we have about 30 chapters, almost 700 members. Wonderful people, big companies, small companies, new to the small business world, been in it 20, 25 years, all kinds of good stories. We bring you those stories every week. Our guest this week, Curtis Webster, Sales and Marketing Manager with Mobile Computer Services. Curtis, glad to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Mike.
We're going to learn about computers, folks. So if you're not tech savvy, look out. You're going to learn something this week.
That's the hope.
Yes. Curtis is in RD23. It's the Raleigh Resource Group. They meet Thursday mornings at 11:30 a.m.
Wednesday mornings.
Dang,
right.
I
Don't
should
show
know
up
that.
on Thursday because you'll be all alone having lunch.
I should know they have, but it's Wednesday mornings, at Linwood Grill. Wonderful food, good folks over there. So if you want to check out Curtis's chapter, Wednesdays at 11:30. I have no idea why it was Thursday. So
yes, Wednesdays,
yes.
please.
So anyways, glad to have you here today. So Mobile Computer Services. Tell us how things are, what kind of year you guys had for 2018.
Mobile Computer Services has been growing, man. I was talking to my boss about this the other day. So we have been around for going on 15 years. Local, minority-owned business, 15 years. I've been with the company for about 10 of those 15. Business is booming, man. We are growing like gangbusters. And one of the main things we have to thank for that is BNI.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with my boss the other day, and in the 3 years or so that I've been in BNI, I want to say it's brought about $300,000 worth of revenue to Mobile Computer Services.
Oh yeah, so it's that's why we bring these kind of stories every week to BNI to tell you the impact it has on people. Like anything else, you have to activate it. You can't just show up every week and go, "Hey, Curtis, I'm here." I mean, you come and we're going to get into this during the show.
Yes.
The things you're looking for and asking for, and then it's the service of the product that really retains the business.
That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
All right. So each week in a BNI meeting, there's a featured speaker, and depending on the size of your group, it's either 5 or 10 minutes. And that member is introduced each week with the member bio sheet. So we always do it this way. So Curtis, here we go.
All right.
Speaker today, Curtis Webster, Mobile Computer Services. Profession is all kinds of IT. We'll get into that more, all the things you do. A location of the company and years in business. You already said about 15, right?
Yeah, so about 15 years in business. And I tell people all the time, don't come to us, we'll come to you. That's why we have mobile in the title.
Hope they pick up on that one. That's all you're right.
Exactly. We have 2 locations, but we do circle the triangle. We service a 90-mile radius, and that's actually grown. So because of the success,
it was the first time you and I met.
That's right. It was only 90 miles, but now we have an office in North Raleigh and an office in Wake Forest. But now we cover business all the way from Wilmington and as far as Charlotte.
Very nice.
Yep.
And all the way to the border. Virginia border.
Exactly.
Okay,
and then, of course, remotely, we can service clients anywhere.
Hey, that's the beauty of kind of what you do, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
Well, but that also makes you a good referral because you could, if I've got a family member or friend in Atlanta, right? You can dial up and take care of everything.
As long as the internet is working, then we can get to them.
And we're going to get into the story you told this morning. Curtis and I both showed up at a visitor's day for Carry Connections.
That's
right. We just kind of both showed up at the front door and went, funny seeing you here, knowing we were going to do this later on today. We'll get to the Thanksgiving story with the dentist. Okay.
My favorite.
So my second favorite question in all this is previous types of jobs. Now we're going to go into your post-college stuff. Let's go. If you want to go back to high school, that's where we've been getting some good stories from people.
Oh, man.
Joe Navarro was on last week and told us how he got fired from a paper route. So,
wow.
Let's go back to any high school or college jobs you had. Anything notable?
I can only imagine Joe probably wanted to redesign how they were doing the paper route, make them more efficient.
He was just lazy.
Joe's amazing. I love Joe. Let's see. Going back to high school, man, I've been working since, I guess, like most people, since 14 or less. Doing stuff around the house. But through high school, I actually was starting on how I was going to put myself through college, doing things like I was running a landscaping company.
Didn't we all?
Exactly.
Pushing the mower down
and what
the
that
road.
means is exactly I was cutting the grass for all my neighbors. That's what that means, running a landscaping company.
There was no trailer and truck back then, was there?
My mom had always worked at a software company, so I've always been around IT and technology. So actually, one of the other things I did starting in high school was take it all the way back. Well, I used to go on Avery and I used to make business cards for my classmates, and I would get them a little customized logo and all that kind of stuff. So one of the other things I did was putting together business cards. I was helping some of my classmates do resumes, trying to
Very
get ready
nice.
for those college interviews
Okay.
and so on and so forth. So that
Avery.
we're waiting tables at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
in a wing restaurant out in Houston, Texas. I grew up in Houston.
Mhm.
So I grew up in Houston, but then for college, I came out here to Carolina
We'll
Blue.
we'll get to that. You got a new football coach today. I don't know if you heard.
I did not hear that yet.
Mac Brown. I know, enough said, but we'll go on with
yeah,
your
that's
stuff. So, yeah.
gonna be good. And then in college, same thing, just working on computer. That's when I got into website design and a little bit more on the marketing side, and of course, always fixing computers. I was always that guy. Hey, Curtis,
Yeah.
my computer's not working.
Yeah.
Can you help me out?
11:30 on a Saturday, and I was like, dude, I'm at a party here. I can't come over there.
Exactly.
I think you're the first guest. We've been doing this since July. I think you're the first guest to mention Avery labels in any job. Yes. But good. That's why we do the show. The stories are great.
So check this out. Elementary school, I used to take those same Avery labels, and I was selling sheets of labels to my classmates to label their pencils and their crayons and everything else in elementary school.
You
So
are organized.
you're talking about a high school. I took it all the way back.
What'd you get for a sheet of labels?
I think it was like 50 cents. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Had your mom buy them and you just mark them up to 50 cents?
I was like, hey,
Keep
this
the
is
cash. Oh, you were rolling
some
in third
candy
grade,
money.
weren't you?
That's exactly right.
Okay, next part of the bio sheet is personal information, your spouse.
Yeah, I am married to Allison. We have been married for, we just celebrated 13 years, but we've been together for 18. I actually, when I came up to go to UNC Chapel Hill in 2000, I met her day one of orientation. So we have been, college sweethearts, and now married for 18 years. Or not, excuse me, together for 18 years, married for 13 of those.
And I always ask people two questions. How did you meet? And do you both tell the story the same way? Yeah, that's usually what I get.
Exactly.
Yes.
We never tell the story the same. So we're in the student union. I was just at the Great Hall, student union. Back then we didn't have, or actually she didn't have a cell phone. I had one. So she was waiting in line to go and use the phone to call home or whatever else. And she was singing a Janet Jackson song. So that's what first caught me, was the voice. And then she was wearing a shirt that was longer than her pants. And I was like, she's singing and not wearing any pants. But it was the voice that caught me. Then I noticed the long shirt.
And you are unusual in your household because you're the only male. So tell us about the daughters.
Yeah, and that's also where all the gray came from. If y'all can see that there. I have three warrior princesses, three amazing young ladies, all under 10. So Soraya is 9, Hannah just turned 6, and McKenna is 3.
The neat thing about you and your wife, and we've had this discussion with people on the show, Karen Atilas, who's retired Air Force, Karen,
Karen's
talking
amazing,
about
yep.
with the daughters, talking about empowering them. Your
Yes.
wife is a doctor.
That's right.
So just a huge role model right off the bat for the girls, isn't it? That you can kind of do anything you want to do, right? Pretty much.
It's huge. My wife works out in Burlington, working in the emergency room. So she is an amazing person and role model, and she does such great things. But it's funny though, because in our house, even last night, my 3-year-old came up asking for Band-Aids because they're like Doc McStuffins, trying to fix the toys and always trying to do surgery and different things. So I come downstairs in the basement in their playroom, and they're sitting there sometimes trying to cut up the dolls. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Let's pretend and do surgery. Let's not do real surgery.
Daddy, I need some ketchup for the blood.
That's right. You got to sew it up.
Now, Joe, last week, a couple people on the show have had teenage girls, and I always ask them, are you the dumbest person walking the earth as the dad? I mean, can you do anything right in your teenager's eyes?
I feel like my 9-year-old, might as well be Miss Know-It-All, right? She's already I feel like a preteen. She's the kind of the diva of the household. The 6-year-old, wants the attention, and then the 3-year-old is like, I don't care what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
I always tell people my 3-year-old would have made the best only child. She'll just be off in the corner playing by herself, talking to herself, just
blazing her own path.
yeah,
right?
exactly,
Yeah.
just taking it easy while her sister's over there in the other corner arguing. I'm gonna do the surgery.
Yeah. Any animals in the house?
No. The 4 ladies in the house is enough.
Okay. You gonna win that battle for a long time, or are they starting to ask for dogs or
Th
cats or anything?
Thankfully, we live in a cul-de-sac, and several of our neighbors have, dogs and cats and all those
Yeah.
different things, so I'm trying to hold off on that as long as possible.
Okay, let them feed them, and your girls can go over there and play with them,
Well,
right?
and it's funny because one of our main target markets is, veterinary, so I'm always in these different animal
Mhm.
clinics and seeing all the different dogs and cats and all that kinda stuff. I try and keep that on the hush from my girls so they don't know.
Hobbies and activities of interest.
Hobbies and activities. Poker.
Yes.
I have an amazing man cave that was designed by, John Devlin over at Blue
Mhm.
Ribbon, and, I try and host a monthly poker night there. Steve Hand's been by, as well as several other my, BNI member. I call it a monthly, a card gathering
Yes.
and networking event.
It is not a one-to-one, it's actual poker going on, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So let me know if you wanna check that out, but poker, I love, entertaining if you can't tell. One of my other jobs coming out of college, I was a DJ.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yep.
used to talking behind the mic, typically with the headphones on. But I also listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts.
Yes. Wonderful stuff, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah. No,
exactly.
I know. Your burning desire is to
My burning desire is to create more time and freedom and flexibility for my wife. She works hard. She's in the, going through medical school and residency. She was in the hospital, 20, 25 times a month. Now it's dropped down to anywhere from, 12 to 16 times a month. But she would love more than anything to spend a little bit more time at home. She actually works nights. So, we're kind of on that opposite end of the schedule. And I would love to be able to continue to create the income that I do so that she can have some options
very
to
nice.
replace her income
I like
eventually.
that. The key to your success?
Key to my success is learning from great people like you, Mike.
Stop. Stop.
No,
Stop. Yeah.
one of the reasons I listen to a lot of audiobooks and try and read and always get in that information is because I realize I don't know
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I'm a technician by trade, like I was saying earlier. With all my jobs before, I was the hands-on. I didn't necessarily have to sell it because people were coming to me. So when my boss said, "Hey, you're fixing these computers, but you do a lot of talking. Let me start paying you to talk." I had to learn sales skills.
Yeah.
So one of the first things he said was, "Go and join the BNI." And I started doing as many one-on-ones as possible so I could learn the skills to make sales work. So
In a one-to-one, if you're not familiar with that, basically, Curtis and I would sit down and talk about kinda who we're looking for as a potential client or a potential referral partner,
exactly.
go through LinkedIn, go through Facebook, who do you know, who do I know, narrow it down to 6 or 8 people,
That's right.
and make some phone calls, say, "Hey, you need to meet my friend Curtis. I know you've been looking for this," and so that's what a one-to-one is getting to know each other and then also helping each other grow some business, so and that's crucial for
That's
everybody
right.
in your chapter, and we talk about this all the time on the show. B and I like, know, and trust. And the best way for them
It's
to do
huge.
that is to get to know you.
That's exactly right. Being in IT and tech support, everybody knows a computer guy, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows somebody that
No, yeah.
that works on computers or works at SaaS or has some kind of knowledge. 95% of our business is referrals. So one of the first things that Cara, the owner of Mobile Computer Services, told me was, "Hey, we're going to put you in sales. I can teach you what I know, but the best way to really become a pro at it is to learn from those that are already succeeding." And that's what I've been able to do through my chapter.
And I gotta believe 75% of your business is coming behind those family members that say, "Yeah, my Uncle Billy does this." It's like Uncle Billy does the computer, he does the taxes,
That's
right? It's like,
exactly right.
"No, no." And you come behind people, which makes you look even better. And it's like, "Oh, yeah, he just had the wires." What it could be that simple, but I gotta
It
believe you get calls all the time
It
from,
happens all the time. As a
uh,
matter of fact, I love it when people say, I'll walk into a dentist office and they say, "Oh, the front desk person's husband,
yeah,
works at SAS and they take care of the IT."
yeah.
Okay, I'll see you next month.
Yeah, you're gonna need my card.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Best question on here, something no one knows about you, and we've got some new people here, not familiar
Oh,
with you
man.
yet. So
Yeah.
what do we not know about you?
Oh, man. Something you don't know about me is you were talking about my wife being a physician.
Mhm.
So going through that process of medical school, residency, all those years of training, the crazy schedules. Now we actually had a kid every step of the way. So, yeah, we had Soraya in medical school, Hannah when we were in upstate New York during residency, and then we came back to North Carolina and had McKenna. So I was trying to figure out how do I best navigate this two working family household. She's working nights, I'm working days. We had 3 little kids under 10. And I was looking for resources to help me become a better dad and a better husband. and I couldn't find it. So I actually started up an organization called Dads Married to Doctors.
Yep,
To
and we're gonna get to that
Oh,
because I
well,
think I
awesome.
think it's neat. I really do
That's
because
awesome.
there's support for
There
everything,
you go.
and I like it that you just created it. It's
I
like, all
couldn't
right, I get
find it.
yeah.
I couldn't find I was looking. I looked on Facebook, I looked on Google, and I couldn't find, I found several dads groups, but none that were as specific as I was looking
Yeah,
for. So I created it, and here we are.
there you go. So the first time you literally ever heard BNI was from Cara?
From Cara. Yep.
Okay. What experience did he have with BNI? Do you know?
He had told me he had never been a member of a chapter, but he had
Mhm.
invited, IT companies apparently are pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty nice thing
Everybody
there.
needs you, you know that, right?
So he had always been invited, different clients that were part of BNI or different networking groups had said, we'd love to have you out. So he was just traveling around, just visiting the different ones. He could never commit because at that time he was
Yeah,
not only the owner, but he was also the lead technician. So he couldn't, commit to a weekly meeting. So
and
that's
how many did you visit before you joined Raleigh Resource Group?
I did the BNI circuit. I had to go
Okay.
around. I don't remember the exact number, but I will tell you this: when I came across your chapter, because
I was in it at
you
the
were the
time, yep,
president
yep,
at the time, you were running the chapter, and Mike created an amazing environment. So when I came across RD23, that was it. The searching actually stopped at that point, and I became a member of RD23. I guess probably going on about 4 years ago. I think it was April
yeah,
4 years ago.
yeah. Well, we do have a lot of fun, and the goal of BNI is to everybody's there to make money
Yep,
and grow your business, but you gotta have fun.
that's exactly right.
And I go back to the biology in 5th period in high school analogy of, "Oh, don't make me go again." You had to wake up every morning, it's like, "Yeah, I got biology class again," and you don't want that. So if you're not familiar with Triangle BNI, there's a number up here on the screen. You can call us, 919-465-1667. You can talk to Steve or Mary or Brenda. They will help you out.
Great
If you wanna
folks.
shoot us an email, bni@nissancommunications.com. Love to hear from you, any questions you have. And also, you can go to trianglebni.com. You can find a chapter, find a person. There's chapters 5 days a week, mornings, lunch. A couple of them are right after lunch, but most of them are. Mine starts at 7:30. I think the latest one that starts is probably noon. I
Right.
think there may be one, but there's every day: Cary, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Fuquay, wherever you want. So go find out. Just go visit a chapter. You'll
Right.
meet some wonderful people. Learn about growing your business. Maybe you've been thinking about starting one and haven't gotten to that yet. So we encourage you to just come out and visit, say hi to us. Yes.
Just to interrupt you real quick, I'll tell you one of the things I thought was one of the most amazing BNI stories was Jennifer Davis, right
Yes.
brand creative.
Oh, yeah.
She, her family, her dad, Lord, her husband had gotten an offer to move down to Florida, and so she's in marketing. She wanted to take her business down there, so she started visiting other BNI chapters. And before they even made the move to Florida, she already found a BNI and already had business
Mhm.
and clients waiting for her when she moved down to Florida, which
So
was
if you
amazing.
Google Rock Brand Creative and tell Jennifer, Curtis, and Mike say
That's
hey and
right.
you're welcome. She does do good work, just logo design, everything like that. So
Yep.
she was a lot of fun in the chapter. So you visited. So I always like to get from people the first time they visited the chapter, and then what were your expectations? And
Mm.
then leaving the chapter, how many different ways was your mind going trying to figure
Oh,
out,
man.
oh, this would be, I could do this, I could do that, or holy cow, what an
Yeah.
overload.
You know, um, even to this day, even being a 3 to 4 year old veteran, going and visiting different chapters still blows my mind. I'll walk into a chapter and I'll think, okay, they're going to run it the same way. They all have the same agenda, the same basic itinerary. But the way in which each chapter kind of customizes it and makes it their own is phenomenal to me. The way we do it, we're a little bit more fun and laid back, and everybody's kind of laughing and joking. Others are very, on the mark, and they have timers, and and you
Yes.
have to be very punctual with what you're doing. When I first went, as you can see, I'm a little talkative. I know how to
You
hold
fit
a
in well,
conversation.
yes.
So when they told me you have 45 to 60 seconds to share what you do, I'm like, give me about 4 minutes. So that was kind of the hardest part was learning how to rein it all in and get very specific about who I am, what we do, and what makes us different.
And actually, you're a great example of this because in BNI, everybody's singing, okay, I got to talk business, got to pass numbers. But one of the neat things that a BNI chapter makes you better at is public speaking.
That's exactly right. Yes.
So if you are nervous, which most people are, and I don't get that, standing up in front of people just talking, but it also makes you, whether you have 30 seconds or 45 seconds, you better
Right.
practice that
You got to
and get
practice.
it down so people when you're done, they can go, okay, I can explain that to people if
That's
I hear
exactly
that.
right.
So,
The main thing I've learned and that helps with the nervous stomach and whatnot is to tell a story. Get up there and talk about one of your most recent clients. Read a testimony. I've literally had people get up there and say, "Oh, Jane just said this about our company," and boom, now I've learned a lot more about you and your company through your customers' eyes. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right?
yes.
That know, like, and trust factor.
Yeah. So when you joined Raleigh Resource Group, what were the first 3 or 4 months like, and what helped you not only grow the business, but go from that tech mode to the sales mode?
Yeah, great question. So here's I'm thinking I'm gonna show up. I got a room full of, RD23 has always been pretty big. I mean, I think it was a room full of 25 to 30
Mm.
people. And so I showed up, and I'm thinking, okay, great. I got 25 salespeople in here. They know what they're doing. I'm gonna start getting referrals right off the bat. And then I get back to work, and my boss is like, "How many referrals did you get?" And I'm like, "Crickets."
Yeah.
Here's what I found out: those first 3 to 4 months were all about building relationships. It was all about creating the atmosphere, creating the opportunity for me to get with folks, for them to know a little bit more about me, as well as for me to learn about them. Because it all goes back to givers gain, right? I found out as we went down that kind of first quarter, 3 to 4 months in, as I started passing more referrals, started having more one-on-ones, getting to know the folks in my meeting, then all of a sudden, oh man, this thing is starting to work. This thing is starting to click in. And I think that first year, I ended up doing like 80,000 in new business just from those BNI referrals. It started slow, but by working the system, it paid off.
And a lot of times it like I said, it takes time to get to know you and understand your company, but mostly it's you to educate us.
That's
We have
exactly
to
right.
educate the other 25 people in the room so they know what we do, what we don't do,
Yes.
and more importantly, how to so they need to understand what they're listening for if they walk into their dental office and they see them, pounding the keyboard. Okay, now I know a
Yeah,
guy.
that's exactly
And I
right.
know you've trained them to anytime anybody's screaming at their computer,
Oh yeah.
call my buddy Curtis,
That's exactly
right?
right. Or they're doing this holiday shopping. Hey, I got that Black Friday deal and they need it set up. All right, we can help you with that.
Do you remember your first referral from BNI?
um I think to get started, and this was another thing, I think people, kind of want to test you out.
Mm,
Before you start making those big referrals, and hey, let me introduce you to this client that I worked hard to get. Let me try you out personally. So I think at the very beginning, I was getting a lot of the, hey, my own personal computer's not
yeah,
working. Hey, can you help me set this up? I can't, I can't get to my printer and so on and so forth. So I believe in those first few months, a lot of it was just let me show up to the office, or send a technician out, find out what's going on, and take care of the individual issues before the big managed services contracts started kicking in.
'cause most of us are horrible with technology, and I'm sure the professional you are, you don't laugh till you get in your car and leaving the location, right?
Yeah, we had there's a guy that used to be in our chapter when I first started, Shane Gentry with
Yeah.
Sally Said So, and I'll never forget when he showed me his laptop that had an arrow through it because he had gotten to that point of frustration. I'm like, Shane, why didn't you call me before you pulled it back? I can't do anything for it now. So yes, call me before you get to that point where you want to go office space on your machines.
On our personal computers, what's the common theme that you see personal computers at our house? What are we doing wrong?
Viruses, viruses,
Uh,
viruses. And it doesn't mean you're going to the bad websites and you're looking at things that you shouldn't look. I remember, I'll never forget. We were doing a new office install. The moment we had set the computer up and plugged the Ethernet cable into the back of the computer, a pop-up showed up on the computer. Literally, the moment we plugged it in, hadn't been any websites, hadn't done anything other than set up the user account on Windows. We plugged it in, a pop-up popped up saying, hey, you should call,
no.
1-800 or whatever. That's the biggest thing that we deal with is viruses. The scammers, the folks that are looking to get into your computers and hack and so on and so forth, they're getting smarter and smarter every day. I tell people all the time, we cannot guarantee that we're going to have your network or your computer be virus or problem free, but we will be there when you need us. And a lot of times we know about the issues before you do.
These all these hackers, you would think they would just go at big rich companies, but they don't. They'll go for nickel and dime for $100, right? I mean, you see it all the time. What are they asking for? What are they in there for?
Yes.
And what are they asking for? What kind of time frame do they give the people?
So that's the biggest misconception. Most people think, oh, they're gonna attack the big wigs out there. You
Mhm.
know, the big companies where we can scam them for millions and millions of dollars. Yeah, but those companies also spend millions and millions of dollars on firewalls and servers
Yeah.
and IT personnel to protect it. So it's a lot harder to go after them versus your local mom and pop that just has the Spectrum router
Yeah.
sitting there, and then they're sharing all their personal files through a Dropbox or or right there on the hard drive. So yeah, it's so much easier. I'll give you a perfect example. We had a home user that called us, and it's such a sad story, and unfortunately, we hear it all the time. She got a phone call. Hello, this is Microsoft tech support.
Yeah.
We need to remote into your computer. But before we do that, give us your credit card number. 3 years and $3,000 later, she had been working with tech
Oh.
support. What was funny is, and not funny, but what was amazing was every time they came in and resolved an issue, man, tangibly 2 weeks later they were calling back because there was another issue that they found as they were monitoring her computer. 3 years, $3,000 later, we went in and within 2 hours removed all the tracking software, all the key loggers, all the stuff that she had on there, and we were able to provide a report that she could take back to her credit card company and bank to get a lot of that money back.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
exactly. So yeah, we'll help not only to keep your computers safe, but we'll also be that trusted resource to make sure that you can work with your banks and whoever else for that remediation.
And I know people in our rough age range with our parents.
Yes.
Yeah, I had this conversation with my mom for the longest time. Do not believe anything anybody over the phone tells you that they're
Yes.
calling you about, or if you get an email.
That's
And that's
exactly right.
because if you don't look at the email or the link close enough, it's
Yes.
just one letter off, right?
That's
It's
exactly right.
like the 20th letter. You see
Oh man.
Microsoft, you're like, oh, it must be that.
Right, you don't realize the O and the F or transpose or
Uh,
something. I
yeah.
will tell you, these guys are getting good. I got an email the other day and no misspellings. They had the logos in there. Everything looked perfectly exact. I almost clicked on the link. I did. I'm trained to look for this stuff. I almost clicked on the link, and then when I went to click on it, if you hold over the link before you actually click, it will pop up with a little tip or whatever of where the link is actually going. And I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. That link doesn't, that's not what it's supposed to be. And then I realized, and like I said, they almost got me. I was ready to click. It didn't go into my spam filter or anything. It went into my regular email inbox.
So if you hover your
Your mouse.
mouse
Uh-huh.
over that link before you click on it, it will give you that information?
If you hover over it, it will show you what website address it wants to take you to. Or if you hover over the two up at the top, if excuse me, not the two, but the from. So if it's from, Bank of America, if you hover over that, or sometimes there's a little down arrow
Mhm.
and that will show you more details. If you hover over that or hit that little down arrow, it will show you if it's actually coming from bankofamerica.com or if it's coming from such and such, we want to steal your identity.com.
It's that's to look for that. But
I've
what
had
are
to
the
train myself.
right, but what are the trigger things we're looking for? If you hover over from Bank of America,
Right.
it could show anything. Will we know that it's not Bank of America?
So here's one of the main things. If you get an email from somebody, like we were working with a client, and they were their email was spoofed. So spammers were using their email address to send out invoices for those customers to pay. First thing we tell folks is number one, and they told their customers, we don't send you invoices by
Yeah.
email. So that should be a red flag. But anytime you're somewhat suspicious, or even if it is from Bank of America, don't click on the link in the email. Just type in bankofamerica.com. If you know that there's a bill you need to pay, or you know that there's something you were expecting, and or maybe you weren't expecting, maybe the email actually looks interesting and you want to visit that, just do a Google search or type that link in yourself, so that way you can see if the website you end up at is what matches the email.
And that kinda goes along with the IRS never calls people. You get a
Yes.
letter,
Oh
and
man.
more people get
Especially this time of year. Yes, the IRS is not going to go after you. I can't tell you how many times I've been on hold for an hour trying to get in touch with the IRS. So if they have a hold times of an hour, why would they be calling me?
Yeah.
They're not going to call you. They're not going to email you. The IRS does not contact you.
You get a letter, yeah. They
You get
wanna
a
track
letter.
that.
I was just going to say that we always, all throughout the years, I've been telling people, Microsoft does not have people sitting there
Yes.
checking your computer remotely to see if you are infected.
Yeah.
There is no
Yes.
such thing. Banks will never ask you
Yes.
it will never send you an email and ask you to verify your password.
Mhm.
You
Correct.
just have to get used to these things. It's just like somebody knocking on the door and say, "I'm here for delivery," and you're looking through the peephole. If you don't look, you may get.
Yes.
But if
That's
you look through
exactly
the
right.
peephole, you may see somebody with a gun standing there, waiting for you to open the door. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So
That's right.
you're right, Curtis. They're getting so good at
They're
it.
getting really good.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's blowing my mind how realistic they are. They're getting away from misspellings and all the different little random things. It's not as much the Nigerian prince as much as it is Bank of America or some other large entity.
But they prey on we open an email, we scan it. Oh, I
Yes.
need to do this or make sure, and you're done, right?
Well, yep.
But a lot of
That's
times,
exactly
what
right.
I've heard from other computer people is these guys are hacking smaller companies, and they'll hold your
Yes.
database or information hostage to get what, $400 in Bitcoin? Is that the going rate these
Yeah,
days?
400, 1,000. I mean, yeah, it will change it, but that's exactly right. Ransomware is what that's called. And we've had clients click on a link in Facebook. They clicked on a link in an email address. Ended up at a fraudulent website. These things will get downloaded. I'll give you an example. We had a animal hospital where somebody was in the back on their break using a work computer to surf Facebook. Weren't supposed to. It was against company policy. But they were doing it, right? I mean, how many of us have those employees?
Yeah.
Here's the policy, but I'm on break. I'm gonna do what I want to do. They clicked the link in Facebook. Next thing you know, ransomware popped up. You're not getting your files back unless you pay us, like you said, $400 in Bitcoin or whatnot. They alerted us. We were able to come in because we had backups of all their data, every single system as well as the server. We were able to go in and wipe that machine because here's the other thing with ransomware. A lot of these Craigslist IT guys or folks that maybe aren't fully up to
Reputable.
speed.
Yeah.
They'll just come in, they'll run a virus scan, put malware bytes on there or whatever and say, okay, you're good to go. Ransomware gets deep down into the root of the system and you can wipe out the surface level parts of it, but it will come right back or it's sitting behind the scenes, stealing your information. So when it comes to a rootkit level virus like that or ransomware, you have to wipe that whole machine, take it back to scratch. And because we run backups on all our managed services clients' computers and we test those backups, that's a key.
Very nice.
That's a
Yep.
key there. And we test those backups. We were able to get in and restore all the computers within that within that environment. And within 1 hour, we had them back up and running as if nothing had ever happened.
It's almost like in sports with the drug testing, the dopers, right, usually are ahead of the testers. Same thing in the computer world with all these scam artists and hackers.
That's exactly right. They're always one step ahead.
Yeah.
And so the best we can do is try and keep up, but also make sure that what we are doing is that our safeguards are tested. We've had folks that say, we had a now client of ours, but they weren't at the time. Oh, we have somebody, they're doing backups for us, everything's fine. Got hit with the virus, got hit with ransomware, everything got wiped out. Oh, we'll just restore the backup. Oh, wait a minute. This backup's empty. This backup isn't what we thought it was. The people weren't testing the backups.
Oh.
Now they're our client.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. And
But
that's
yeah,
you good.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, first of all, as far as backup, one backup is just like not having
Yeah.
a backup. Do it, but it's like just
one's
like,
better than zero.
I mean, over here in my office, there are 4 backups
Yes.
that we do,
Yeah.
and it's doing it every 6 hours.
Have
I
to.
mean, you got to, but
That's
to
exactly
go
right.
back to how smart these people are getting. Lately, the biggest thing is, hey, I got into your computer and I activated your camera and you went to a porn
That's
site
exactly
and
right. Yes.
here's your password and stuff. And the first one of those that I got, I said, well, I didn't go to porn sites, but this is a password. That password looks familiar.
That's exactly right. Yep.
And these all people need to know these passwords are really your passwords. And they got those not from your computer. They got it from the Yahoo breach,
Yes.
from LinkedIn breach,
That's exactly
from
right.
different
Those
breaches.
Yes.
And if you use the same password everywhere, then they could. I don't think that they're trying it because they figured you're going to see this, you're going to pay because you recognize
You
it.
recognize that password.
Yeah.
So people need to be aware of that.
That's so true.
And that's the thing, though. And I love the people that have a document on their desktop labeled passwords and they have all of them
Passwords,
written
that's
down. So, but the key is though to ask a bunch of questions. The first time they see something just looks different,
Right.
right? Just They may not know what it is, but just it's different.
Yeah, if you're not sure, don't click it. Like you
Yeah.
said, yeah, kind of be a little bit more suspicious, especially with the fact that we get so many emails. Sometimes it will get through the spam filter and make it to your inbox. So yeah, ask some questions. If you do get that phone call, assume that they're not actually from tech support trying to help you out or from the IRS.
Yeah.
If anything, say, nope, I'm not interested. Hang up, call us, or actually call the IRS and find out, did you really, need me for something?
And if you own a business and you don't think your employees are on Facebook, yeah, that may
Yes.
be the most truthful thing that comes out of
Oh,
this
most
show is
definitely.
they're on Facebook. So yeah.
And you do have options, with certain firewalls and routers. I mean, we could have blocked Facebook. We could have blocked some of those different websites. They didn't want to, and that's perfectly fine. You have to determine your employee policy, and that's where Samantha at Heartland
Yes.
with HR and payroll can really help you determine how you want to do that. But we can do that for you if you want to kind of give yourself a little bit more of a safeguard. We can block certain sites for you.
All right. So if you notice the color of Curtis's shirt, it is Carolina blue. He is a proud UNC graduate,
Yes, I am.
captain of the fencing team.
That's right.
I believe you're the first legitimate fencer we've had on this show. I don't know who else has fenced what. I didn't ask.
And I don't know about how legitimate either.
How'd you get into fencing?
So, to be perfectly honest, what's crazy about fencing is, especially where Carolina fencing was at that point in time, they were looking for athletes. When you're a varsity sport at Carolina, you're competing with, basketball, you're competing with football, you're competing with wrestling, all these, high level varsity programs. So not a lot of people were paying attention to fencing at that time. It's actually changed now. We actually now are recruiting. They have scholarships. They're having folks actually seek out, Carolina fencing. But at that time, they were just looking for folks that had an athletic background. I grew up playing soccer and running cross country. So I had endurance, I had speed, and that worked out well. And also I'm left-handed. So they gave me kind of a competitive advantage. Most of the people in the world are right-handed.
Yeah.
So they're not sure how to defend against the lefty. So I could just, boom, my point.
And were you the IT guy in the dorm? Right. Curtis.
Still getting those calls.
Word
Yep.
gets out quick, right? So once you got out of Carolina, you've basically been in IT since,
My whole
legitimately since 2005, but we've learned we go way back.
Right.
So what's different in your BNI chapter when you go visit other BNI chapters? What are you doing? How are you educating people different today than you did a couple of years ago when you're first getting into it and understanding it?
Oh, yeah. The biggest thing now is just getting more specific. So early on, I was like, yeah, we're looking for anybody, 5 computers in a server or larger. Now we really are trying to focus in on certain industries, even asking for clients by names. Also, certain things I can be more specific now to tell people to look for. For instance, if you have if you go to your dentist and they're sending you emails from at Yahoo, at AOL, at Gmail, that's a sign. It is a possible HIPAA violation if they're sharing customer information, HIPAA data over a unencrypted email source like Gmail or any of these free accounts. So that's one of the first things I tell people is your dentist sending you emails from Gmail. That
In theory, they would have a portal that you would log into, and it would be secured that way.
that's exactly
In
right.
theory,
In,
right?
in
Yeah.
theory, in theory, it's also
No,
not
it
professional.
is
That's
not,
exactly right. You have this huge, beautiful dental practice, and you're charging me this great copay,
Yeah.
but you're sending me something from Hotmail.
So what kind of industries have you guys narrowed down 2018 and 2019 to look for?
When like I said, we work in all industries. Everybody has computer needs, and we can do it all. I always say we're the all-in-one, one-stop shop for all your IT and tech support needs. But where we really specialize in is dental, veterinary, and then I'd also say financial services. Basically, what that boils down to is your SEC compliance for finance and your HIPAA compliance for medical and dental.
When you first started with Cara, it was you two were the techs?
For the most part, early on in the early days, it was about 3 or 4 of us
Okay.
because we always had some dedicated technicians out in the field, and now it's grown to 10 people.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, very good.
We have technicians, like I said, now we're doing stuff all the way out in Wilmington, all the way out in Charlotte. So we have technicians all over North Carolina that have different specialties.
And how much of your business is remote?
Well, the majority of our business is hands-on. I mean,
Or I should say outside the triangle
outside
area.
of the
Yeah.
triangle.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. We try and keep it focused because we want to make sure we can honor our 2 response times, our 3 minutes on site, or excuse me, our 3 minutes answering the phone and our 60 minutes on site. But I don't know, maybe 10, 15% is
Okay.
outside of the triangle.
And if you want to put your company motto to the test, stand up in a BNI meeting as you're the 10-minute speaker and say, "We answer every phone call within 3 minutes," and then dial the number. I'm telling you what, I saw you do it, and it was, um, dang it, Bethany from Fidelity
Yes.
way back when she did it, and theirs was "You will not get voicemail."
Yes.
And I thought,
That's exactly right.
gutsy. Sure enough, within 10 or 12 seconds, somebody answered it.
That's
But
exactly
if
right.
you truly want to test it and show people, hey, we say it, we're walking the walk here.
One of the things we realized early on is there's two reasons people are looking for an IT person or looking to change their current IT company. One of those is response time. You have an issue. My computer's down. I got a blue screen. I'm calling my person, but they're not answering the phone. Or when they do answer the phone, I'll be out there in 2 days because I'm tied up. So response time, we said, we'll solve that. We'll give you a guaranteed response time of 3 minutes or less, or we pay you. In 15 years of business, we've never had to write that check to one of our managed services clients for missing that phone call. When they call in, we figure out what level of priority is that ticket. If it's critical, mission critical, servers down, we can't see our patients, we can't work on our data, then we're putting you in touch with your assigned technician to remote into your machine. If they can't remote in, internet's down, so on and so forth, they're on site within 60 minutes, guaranteed. And then the other thing is getting it done right the first time. A lot of times, folks will go with the Craigslist guy or Geek Squad, and multiple days later, multiple wipes of the computer later. Oh man, there's still these issues, or now I got to start from scratch because you wiped my machine. No, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna get it done right the first time, and if we don't, you're not paying for it. We're gonna remedy that.
And that's just crucial to have that, to be able to come out and do that. What separates you guys as the company's grown?
Yeah.
What has started has allowed you to separate yourselves from the competition?
Yeah. Well, to this day, we still don't have anybody else that can meet our response times. So that's kind of been the main claim to fame. And then just peace of mind, just making sure that our clients know that we're there when they need us. And then even a lot of times, like you were talking about with my Thanksgiving story,
Yes.
that we're monitoring their network 24/7, 365 behind the scenes. So a lot of times we know about an issue before they do.
Go
Hey,
go ahead and tell the story. I love this. But again, this is people in BNI, we stand up all the time and say, been in the industry 20 years, been in the market 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have a rich spouse. You just bad at what you do, but you just need to make $3,000 a year to keep your shingle out. We don't know that
Right.
until you tell a story
Tell
about a
stories.
client. And when you can give a testimonial
Yes.
from a client, then ooh, they really are good. So tell this story
Yeah.
just from Thanksgiving, right?
Well, that's from a couple years ago, Thanksgiving. And then on top of that, one of the things we do when we go around and meet with a new potential client, we have a little book that we give out, and we say, this is our 50 reasons you should work with mobile computer services. And really what it is 50 testimonials from different clients that we've built up over the last few years. So like you said, don't take our word for it. We'll introduce you to our clients so they can tell you.
And
But
probably some decent names on that list that they would recognize, right?
there's
I'm
some
thinking.
pretty decent names on there. Yeah. It's funny when you were asking about the technicians, because we have um Lord, now I'm drawing a blank. Let me tell the story, then I'll come
Yeah.
back to some of the big names. But a couple years ago, we have a dentist. He has 2 locations across the triangle. It was Thanksgiving. He was trying to finish up, and you know how people are always trying to get in right before the holidays or right afterwards. It was over the holidays. He was going home, not thinking about business, not thinking about work, just trying to relax so he could come back in on Cyber Monday and get right back to work. Well, we get a notification on our pager that his assigned technician got a notification at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. How many people want to get up at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning? Well, we do. That's what he's paying for. Peace of mind to know that when something happens to his network, we're there. We get the notification at 2 o'clock in the morning. There was nothing wrong with our equipment. Spectrum was actually doing some work in the area. So we got in touch with them, found out what was going on. They were like, "Oh, it's going to be down the whole day. We're not sure when it's going to come back up." They said that's not acceptable. We have a client that's going to be seeing patients at 7:30 in the morning. We need to do something to make this work. So we were able to work out something with the Spectrum technician, get their internet services back up and running. The dentist comes in 7:30 in the morning. He starts working. We give him a call at 9 o'clock and say, "Hey, doc, how's things going?" "That's fantastic. Thanksgiving was good. I'm back. I'm working." We say, "Great. We know it's fantastic because we were up at 2 o'clock in the morning working on your network because your systems were down." He had no clue, but he was able to come back in and have that peace of mind knowing that what he's paying for, he's getting.
Yeah. So all your techs carry the pager and they get the alert for their accounts?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And if he wouldn't have been available at 2:00 in the morning because he was doing something else, it would have round robin to the next available technician.
Very good. Again, there are certain industries where you get what you pay for, right?
That's exactly right. We're not the cheapest out there. We're not the most expensive. We found that we're kind of right in the middle. But like you said, it's that quality and it's that peace of mind. This is what we tell our clients or potential clients all the time. How much can you afford to be down?
Yeah. Yeah.
If your computers are down for an hour, if you're down for a day or two, how much is that worth to your business? I promise you, we're cheaper than that.
Right. Whether you're a retail outlet during the lunch hour or a doctor's office, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things. Just keep it up and running. Here's all right there. Just keep it up and running. So let's get back to something you mentioned earlier in the show. Your wife is a doctor, and you founded Dads Married to Doctors.
That's right.
How'd you get that started? What's the purpose of the group?
Yeah. So, like I said, I was just at one of those places where I was trying to figure out, I always call it the DMD lifestyle. How can I live this DMD lifestyle best? A dad, in my 30s, young kids, 3 kids under 10. Look, I'm confused. I'm trying to figure out how I can do this thing and how I can do it the best. I mean, who wants to be a bad father, right? Who wants to be a bad husband? I realized I didn't know it all. Like I said, I listened to a lot of podcasts, a lot of books. I'm trying to figure out how can I be better. And so I took to the internet trying to find a resource to give me some tools. And when I couldn't find it, I said, all right. I went on Facebook, clicked that little create button. I went on GoDaddy and bought dadsmarriedtodoctors.com. And 4 years, actually it'll be 4 years here in December of 2018, we'll be 4 years old. We're 3,600 members across 25 plus countries.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it'd grown that much.
And we're growing by about 50 new members each month.
What's the purpose and what do the dads that join this, what are they getting out of it?
Yeah. So I started DMD with the idea or the mission to encourage and empower one another to become better dads and husbands. That's what I keep saying. So now we're doing things from holding monthly or several times a month webinars. There's experts within the community because that's the thing. Like you said, you're married to a high powered, busy professional. So a lot of these guys, I thought most of them were going to be stay-at-home dads. I found out very quickly only about a third of the dads married to doctors are stay-at-home. Most of them most of them are out in the field. A lot of them own their own business. Like I said, experts in their field, and they're doing different things. So I can bring those guys in to give value back to the community. So we're doing online webinars. We're doing in-person events. Right now we have a yearly annual retreat. We're going to Vegas in October for that, and then we're also doing a couples retreat in St. Lucia.
I bet that's important as well.
Yeah, a family cruise. One thing we found out, and I knew this being part of the physician family, when you're going through all that training, life is busy. You have no money. You have debt, over your head, and most of the couples aren't spending a lot of time together. Crazy schedules. So we said we got to start creating some opportunities for the couple and for the family to get out of the house to reconnect. And so not only do we have those kind of events, but also guys' weekends away. Most guys do not take care of themselves physically, mentally, or emotionally. And one of the things that I've been looking to do is create resources and opportunities for us to do that.
Yeah. I've got my boys have some friends that are doctors and just go in, they're anywhere from 27 to 31 are their friends that I think 4 of them are doctors. And just watching what they go through, and they're not even married.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine, A, you have a spouse, or B, you had kids during nice call.
Yeah, every level. I mean, and everybody told us don't do it. Yeah. Well, I remember when we were first getting married, our family said, no, don't get married now. It's crazy, and so on and so forth. But, you figure it out. And what I realized is it would have been so helpful to have a tribe, have a community that I could go and bounce questions off of. Hey, we were just talking in the group the other day, they have 2 kids. They're trying to determine should they have their third. Mm-hmm. So being able to find out from people, what's it like having 2+ kids? Little things that, you might not know beforehand.
That's correct.
Or have people that understand your situation to ask about.
And that's the other thing, knowing what you've been through.
Yep.
To little context on all of that.
Most people think, oh, you're married to a doctor, must be sunshine and rainbows. and trust me, there's a lot of pros, but there's some other sides to it that people don't always think about. Sometimes people say, oh, you just, we're broke at a higher level too. So it's both sides.
What they don't know is the storm that happened getting to the sunshine and the rainbows,
that's
right?
Exactly right.
It was probably as important for your wife to have you there as a support system.
Right.
I go because I imagine if you go through all that single, I mean, who you kind of turn into?
You were asking earlier why we created it. The the marriage community as a whole already is a 50% divorce rate.
Yes. Oh,
It's
yeah.
even higher in physician families.
Yeah.
It's even higher. Um, so that was something that we were looking to combat. And then, like you said, when you're trying to figure out how to go through this, I mean, yeah, you just need somebody that gets it.
Yeah. Hey, nice to have somebody 5 years ahead of you to say, "Okay, watch out for this, watch out for that."
That's
I
exactly
just
right.
like the fact you make your wife drive to Burlington to go to work every day, so and
Hey,
you won't move to Burlington.
So it's funny. We did everything backwards and contrary to kind of common wisdom. This is why it's good to have resources like Brian Richardson, the financial
Yep.
planner, in our group who can help you, make these decisions. Do you find the job in the schools and drop your hat there with the home? Or do you do like we did and find the community where you want to live and then just like, oh, we'll drive 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll take the kids to school 20 minutes away and everything else. You got to have trusted resources.
You do, yeah. Well, then, okay, so that segued to my next point I was gonna bring up. One of the neat things that, accomplishments I think people have, I have a nephew that's got this, is you are an Eagle Scout,
I am an Eagle Scout, yes.
and that probably helped you, right? Okay, I gotta,
It's funny. Most people don't believe I'm an Eagle Scout because I don't do outdoors. I don't like camping. I don't like any kind of the normal outdoorsy Boy Scout stuff. But what I do like about the Boy Scouts and what it taught me, what I learned from it was actually community, team building. I learned leadership skills, relationships, how to bond with different folks and make those mentalities work together. And that's really what I was looking for.
I told my nephew, was he would have been 18,
Yeah,
so this is about 7 years ago, and I said, "Man, that better be at the top of your resume,
always has been.
because
Yeah,
that's a guy thing." Women love that too, but for the guys who went through Boy Scouts and never got to certain levels, when I hear Eagle Scout,
Oh, yeah.
my ears perk up and go, "Okay, that's an accomplishment right there." That's somebody, if
Yeah.
they're interviewing for a job for you, that moves them near the top of the list because I want to know more about them.
Oh, I had it on the college application. I had
Yes.
it on it's still on my resume to this day. I mean, like you said, it's something I'm very proud of. And my family and my community had a big part in helping me to do that because otherwise it probably wouldn't happen.
That college resume, the top of it on your name should have been Curtis, Eagle Scout,
Eagle Scout
Webster.
that's right in the middle of quotations.
I would lead with that, and I told him, I said, "You better
Yep.
bring that up in every single conversation when
That's
they
right.
say, what things have you accomplished, or what have you been involved in?" Because that is,
It's huge.
once I learned what he went through to
Yeah.
get that, it's not easy, and it's
Not
not
easy at
for the
all.
faint of heart either, is it?
Well, it's funny because I look at the Boy Scout organization just like I look at BNI and these other groups. A lot of times in life, it is what you know, but it's also who you know. And being part of the Boy Scouts of America and as well as BNI has helped me to find like not only lifelong friends,
Mhm.
but also trusted resources that I can work with in different things. I still talk with folks from Boy Scouts. I mean, it's
One of the neat things about doing this show is I just love the stories, but the
right.
common theme is we all get back to something happened years ago that started you on this path, or you can
Yep,
draw from. But those are the stories that people hear, because you could be making $1 million. I don't really care,
that's
but
right.
good for you. And I hope everybody makes a lot of money. It's not the
Right.
point of the show, but the stories and I can just see it in people's eyes when they're telling the stories, like you with the scouts. I mean, that was ingrained in you, that sense of community
That's
from the
exactly right.
beginning, right?
Most definitely. I mean, it's one of those things I highly encourage people to do all the time, and we're actually looking into it for our girls.
Very
Yeah,
nice. Oh,
trying to make the time work.
yeah. Oh,
That's
that's
the
all?
that's the
Okay.
hard part.
When did you learn Spanish? You are bilingual, right?
Un poco.
Okay. That's
I
all
tell
right.
people all the time, I see. No, but I don't speak it nearly as much as I used to, but it was something actually that my wife and I also were able to bond over in college. She's from New York City, from Brooklyn.
Mhm.
I'm from Houston, Texas. So Spanish was was a huge part of our both of our cultures and communities growing up. She actually uses it every day in the emergency
Oh,
room,
I
and
bet.
so
Oh,
we
I bet
try
that's a
and
huge resource for that hospital.
yeah, she is definitely fluent and knows her medical Spanish, and we try and bring that home to the girls because we think it's huge in this worldwide community that we live in.
Mm.
Even here in North Carolina, where you speak Spanish with an accent.
How does y'all translate it? Yeah.
That's right, exactly.
So, again, one of the things we talk about on the show are the depth of the people in BNI, trying to get people to come visit. These are the people you're gonna get to know. Yes, they're successful business people, they're good people, but most all of them give back to the community, and I know you've got a couple things, the Better Business Bureau and the American Red Cross. So, talk a little bit about because most people are like, "Wait, Better Business Bureau?" But you're a board member there.
That's exactly right. So I was blessed with the opportunity. Kim Niski, who actually works with one of the Better Business Bureaus, and then also Andre Quintana, who is huge in the networking world and Better Business Bureau, tapped on my shoulder and asked me about being a part of the board of directors for the Better Business Bureau. And I thought that was such a amazing recognition,
Mhm.
to for them to think highly enough of me to extend that offer. And since we've been there, it's just amazing the work that they do to make sure that companies uphold some standards, to make sure that companies are who they say they are and are going to do what they say they're going to do. The Better Business Bureau has been one of the best decisions that we made, not only being a part of it, but also serving on the board. I actually have a meeting with them on Wednesday.
When as the consumer, when you're looking for businesses, I know that's one of the things I look at. If I see that, it's like, "Ooh, let me just nudge this one a little ahead of the other ones," because I'm with you. I think it's that important, and you're
That's exactly right.
recognized by the experts to say, "Okay, this company's worth us putting our stamp on them."
That's exactly right. And if you have, yeah, any questions or interest in learning more about the Better Business Bureau and what some of the value that you can get out of it, definitely please contact me. I'd love to talk with you about it.
And you're
Yeah.
also involved with the American Red Cross.
Yeah, one of the things that's always been high on my list has been, like I said, with my wife being medical,
Mhm.
is it's just giving back, and the one of the best ways I can do it is giving my blood. I remember because I would donate every year, especially going through college and several years there after. But I got to the point where I'd sit there and I'd have both arms out. I'm trying to see how fast I can fill up the bag from both arms and stuff like that because it's a lifesaver.
Yeah, and
People need that blood.
well, and especially with North Carolina being a hurricane state, you just never know when one's coming, and
Yep.
when you have any kind of a natural disaster, one of the first things they run out of is any type of blood.
That's exactly right. So I highly encourage and I try and get out there as often as I can.
Were you one of those, I give plasma in college to get through because you get past
It was
forget
one
what
of
the going rate was
it
back
was
in the
one
day,
of the
but
things that I was looking into, and I never ended up giving plasma, but it was right there on my list.
I had some friends that did. It actually paid pretty well,
It did
and this was back
play
in the
well.
early '80s, so yeah, but
Yeah.
the first time I heard of that, I was like, "Wait, walk me through this again," so but it worked for them.
Oh, man.
So we're coming up on the end of 2018.
Yep.
2018's been a good year. What's the goal for this time 2019 for you and for the company?
Yeah, so a couple things. Me personally, I'm trying to get to the point where I'm meeting with enough referral partners, going to enough networking events, talking with enough potential clients where I can sign on 3 new clients a month. So that's kind of a
Okay.
kind of a personal goal. Trying to do that. And then as a company, yeah, we're looking to grow. We're actually in the process of hiring more technicians because we're staying busy. Looking to continue to grow that yearly revenue. Trying to hit that $1 million mark here in the next couple of years. So that's on the list.
Very nice.
Um,
And what are your
yeah.
goals through your BNI chapter?
Through the BNI chapter, well, actually to tie directly into that, it's yeah, increasing one-on-ones. One of the things that people kind of run into, and I've done this myself, is you get into a chapter, you get complacent. You start just going to the weekly meeting, especially for us as lunch. You don't always do those things outside of the meeting to help make sure you're growing your business or helping your chapter grow their business. So I'm doing more one-on-ones, and I'm also bringing more visitors uh, to
Mhm.
the um, to the chapter because that's one of the best ways I've been able to give referrals out is bringing
It is
visitors.
because you never know who's gonna be there that day and who's looking for you. They may have never told you, "My computers at home are awful," and then you show up and boom, everybody wins on that.
That's exactly right. Everybody knows somebody.
Yep. So if your computer at home or at work is having problems, please go find Mobile Computer Services. Call them. Website, best
Website
way.
is NC, as in North Carolina, mobilecomputerservices.com.
All right.
Yeah.
And also, if you are married to a doctor, want to check out the Facebook page, uh, Dad's Married to Doctors.
Yep. Dot com
Dot
or
com.
or
Yep.
DMD Lifestyle on
Yep.
Facebook.
So they're looking for all kinds of stuff like that. Curtis, been great hearing your story, hearing more about computers, and we all need to be
Yeah.
aware of everything. So, folks, go check out Mobile Computer Services, learn more about them. They can help you. Go visit a BNI chapter, go to trianglebni.com, find out where a chapter nearest you is. And we will see you next week with another wonderful small business story using BNI to help grow the business. We will see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.